Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis, and this is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We are having an amazing week. We have spent the better part of the last month in the iTunes charts. We are doing very well on YouTube. Yesterday, we had over 1,000 views before 1 o'clock Eastern. So by noon Central, we were at 1,000 views. So things are going really well. And that tells me that. But it also tells me you guys are ready for some football. And I don't blame you there. So we're doing our viewer mail here. Ranting Rebel said, which game this season do you think will be the most important to where winning it almost guarantees 10-2 or a better outcome? And I'm going to answer this question, but not exactly the way you think, or maybe you were asking it outright. Now, the game that I think if Ole Miss wins, they're winning 10-2 or better is probably the Georgia game. That's just automatically, if you want the game that Ole Miss needs to win to be 10-2 or better, if they beat Georgia, they've probably beaten one of our Alabama and LSU. That's just the way that works. But I'm looking at this as like, okay, my prediction is 9-3. Okay. And I've explained exactly how that goes. We did W's and L's for the better part of 2 weeks and talking about which teams Ole Miss needs to look out for, the big good games. Ole Miss is a 60% probability favorite on the ESPN FBI in 9 of the 12 games. They are also a 60% or more underdog in 3 of the 12 games. So they're that underdog against LSU, Georgia, and Alabama. Okay. So that tells you if everything goes to chalk, you're looking at 9-3. Probability wise, 9-3 is the probable outcome. But as we all know, there's no such thing as a gray sports almanac. There's no back to the future thing to where you can just go in there and pick out football scores and figure out what happens. So what is likely to happen? Let's just say Ole Miss has a magical run, all right? Just for hypothetical sake, they have a magical run. And they beat one of Alabama and LSU, because even then, I'm just going to put them at winning one of those 2 games. I still think then the most important game for Ole Miss's season will be the Auburn game. If it was a guaranteed win that Ole Miss could win that game after beating an Alabama or an LSU, Ole Miss would likely be going 10-2. I think that Auburn game has a chance to be unbelievably tricky. I went over this from the beginning, and I think Hugh Freeze is going to have that team unbelievably up. So just be aware of what's going on. I think that game is low-key important, not because of how good Auburn is, because of what that game will mean and where it sits on the schedule. It's just interesting. Cody Camp asks, how many players will be playing multiple positions this season? He's speaking of both sides of the ball. So I guess he's asking about two-way players. Honestly, I don't think there will be that many more than, I think, JJ Pegues. They'll do a gimmick play from time to time on him. They might do some short yardage stuff. I think he is probably the guy. They don't have to go both ways. I know Suntarian Perkins had an unbelievable, like 300 and something yards in the state championship game. They even don't want to go both ways with him. They want him to learn how to be a linebacker and learn how to be a really good linebacker. But I think JJ Pegues is probably the one athlete that we need to pay attention to as well. Now, if you look at our Discord server, go over there. The link is in the description. If it does not work, I will get you a new link. Just DM me. Every Tuesday night, we do Discord Live. We're going to be doing stuff during the season from time to time. We have a nice, fun chat experience for Ole Miss fans at the moment. You can go on there, have fun. It works like a chat room, but just also have the ability to thread posts if it's worthy. And that is a really cool deal. But this is just a nice way to build community and everybody to talk about Ole Miss football, which we always want to do in kind of a troll-free environment. But September 1st, this will become a private message board. Right now, we have open enrollment until the end of this month, but starting September 1st, we go private. Anyway, thank you so much for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also, this shirt and shirts that I wear most of the time, they come courtesy of the Grove Collective, and you could have this shirt by ordering it online. They have their shop feature on their website. Proceeds go to help the Ole Miss NIL Fund. So if you want to check that out, please do that. And if they ask you, tell them I sent you. Anyway, thank you very much, and we will see you tomorrow. Hotty toddy.